nice hole that's probably deep enough for this root. Kind of swirl it around like that. The soil is already dampened, and we're going to drop it down in there. I'm sorry, my hands are kind of covering this. But basically, you want the root to be about where the dirt was when it was in here. And so essentially, you're just planting the roots in there. And there you have a plant.
And here's more.
And here's another one. Okay, so here's a guy, and we're going to make a little spot for him. Again, just stick it down in there and swirl it around. Becky, do you want to find me one that has two roots? And then essentially I'm just tucking the dirt around where the roots are. They might look a little sad for the first day, but they will perk back up once they've been under the lights for a little while.
This guy is too sad to plant.
Okay, yeah, here we have one that has kind of a little root. You could try planting this if you're short on plants, but I don't think we're short on plants over here.
And that one has a nice growth, but it looks like it lost its rut.
Yes, that one got torn.
I wouldn't be planting that one either.
No, I wouldn't plant that one. But these guys have nice roots. Now say you have two plants, and they were both in the same cell. Okay, say you got two plants in there by mistake. And now you've got two plants growing in the same little cell. Well, what you do in that case is only one plant is going to have enough room to grow in this little cell. So what you do is you find out which one you think is weaker, which doesn't have as many leaves, probably this one. And then to avoid disturbing the other one, you can just cut that off, and now that one's got lots of room to grow. These little, look at how nice that root is. Mm-hmm. Okay, that guy is very, very happy. We're gonna just tuck him in there. And you don't want to push the soil real hard around the bottom of the plant.
Kind of snug it in though.
Snug it in, yeah. You don't want the roots to have any air around it. But, okay, so this one, this looks like we got two right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna separate those.
It's kind of nice to have two people because then you have one teasing out the roots and the other one planting.
Yeah.
Which works out nice.
Gardening is often a very fun occupation for two people to do.
Would you plant that one?
That one doesn't have a lot of root to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would not plant that one. True. There are hundreds of plants in there. Now, do you need hundreds of anise hyssop? Maybe you do.
Well, maybe you just want the strongest.
Maybe you do. But maybe you're trying to plant a prairie and you're trying to grow from seed. In that case, maybe you do want them all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I'll tell you about anise hyssop is that it's a native Minnesota plant. And it is a bee magnet.
A good pollinator plant.
Good pollinator plant. So there are good reasons to plant native plants. Some are host plants for very specific butterflies or bees. There is an endangered bee in Minnesota called the Rusty Patch bumblebee. And that has certain plants that it likes. I don't know that anise hyssop is one of those. But
and it's been seen in Burnsville, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. It has. And mostly because people are planting native plants. You can find out a lot more about native plants by going to looking up native plants on Google, or my favorite spot is to go to Prairie Moon Nursery because they have a great catalog. You can learn a lot about native plants and the host species that look for certain plants.
Do you ever do like 2 or 3 of them together sometimes and make more like a plug?
You could.
Like this guy? Because all the roots are so nice together.
Sure, they are pretty well hooked in together. So here we have a tray
right time.
that we've just planted of
So
anise
there's
hyssop. And right now they already are a little happier in their new homes.
do you plant
Give them a couple of days to recover
leaves
from
here?
being
You can plant those?
transplanted,
No.
and then you want to water them from the bottom. And you put water down below in the bottom of the tray. After I'd say about a week, when plants have their first true leaves, which of course are what the plant will look like, this is what the leaves are going to look like on this plant as it gets taller. That's when you can fertilize. Don't fertilize before that because the seedlings don't need that. But when they have their first true leaves, you can take Miracle Grow or other fertilizer at about half strength. Don't do it full strength because the roots don't need a lot. You saw how small the roots are. They need some time to grow before they're going to be able to take in the fertilizer you're putting on them. So if you do it at about half strength once a week, and that's all. Don't fertilize them more than that. They'll grow up very nicely. Now, I would do it less frequently maybe for the anise hyssop than once a week. And the reason I say that is because anise hyssop is a native plant, and a lot of native plants don't really like fertilizer that much. They tend to grow in really poor soils. They grow quite well and happily. So they probably don't need a ton of fertilizer before they were planted outside in the garden. If you over-fertilize, you can burn the roots of a plant. And you'll see them looking, they will not look happy. They will not be standing up. They will turn yellow on the edges of the leaves. They'll flop over and die if you put too much fertilizer on them. So if you have to choose between fertilizer or no fertilizer, it's probably better to go with no fertilizer on seedlings, just because of that factor that you could burn the bottom.
Put it all the way to the bottom?
No, just you're gonna, like this. This is gonna go on the ground, this is gonna go at the top.
Okay, so if it lays over, it's okay?
Yeah, like this little guy kind of splayed out. It's
Okay, all right. Do you want me to, okay.
And like this, you can drop it all the way
Oops.
down,
Right into the,
right? Make a hole and drop it down all the way to, see where the wood comes down off the stem? There you go.
so I had to just put the soil around it?
Mm-hmm, kind of tuck it. Sometimes use the eraser part.
Part, yeah. Boy, that's,
They're a little fussy, you know?
yeah, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so nice.
So, I'm sorry you're feeling ill, but like I said, we thought.
Yeah,
we
that
thought
worked
we,
out
you know,
good.
We washed hands,
That's a
we
good
weren't
one.
anywhere near you and stuff, you know, but yeah.
Let's see if I can find it.